Hi, it's me, Rasheed Ogunlaru, coach, speaker and author. I'm really delighted to be here for the April issue of Catch the Coach, your newsletter for success and fulfillment. This issue is all about blossoming progress in career or in terms of business. And it comes aptly as I am about to speak tomorrow to a careers conference. For those of you who are interested news-wise and events-wise, I'm running my regular Networking for Success event and my Sole Trader event. You can see the details of those if you follow the link below this. But I'm also going to be running a Sole Trader retreat for entrepreneurs and leaders in Portugal, the 10th to the 16th of August. The details are about to be announced soon. If you're very, very keen, drop me a line. There are only going to be about just under a dozen spaces. You're going to have to move fast on that in terms of news, and it is particularly for those of you who are really wanting to progress in your life and your business, but you're wanting to be authentic. Our theme is around intention, compassion and transformation, and that's really so important in the world in which we live in. So whether it is that you're your own boss or whether you're in a leadership position, you're really passionate about joining us. This summer holiday retreat is going to be an opportunity to look at yourself, your career, your business, and your leadership, and we're going to be taking you through the Sole Trader steps to see how it is that you're able to boost your clarity, how it is able to boost your customers, how it is that you boost your courage, how it is that you're able to boost the conversations that you're having, the cooperation that you have, and compassion and creativity in order that you're able to shape and embrace change. So get in touch with me if you're keen on that, and the details will be launched soon on the soletraderevents.com special website, but I'll be sending more details about that. But back to the job in hand, which is your job or your career, and my 3 tips for this career progression, which is our theme, around being visible, being valuable and being velvet voiced. Now, what do I mean, and what's this got to do with career progression? Visible in a way is the very first and the key one, but I want to touch on being valuable first. You already have value. The first thing is, do you value yourself? Do you value who you are? Do you have self-worth? It's really important that you value who you are. It's going to be very difficult for anybody else to value you if you don't. So you need to know what your skills are, you need to know what your talents are. Write it down, list it down. What are all your personal and your professional skills and talents? What are all the things that you've accomplished? You might well be many, many years into your career, and it might be about taking stock. You might think, oh my goodness, I've run that project, I've brought in this amount of business for this employee, I've achieved this, I've worked with all these people as my own boss, whatever the circumstances may be. You need to be able to list that. You need to have that there. You need to know what your bank account is as far as your worth is and what you've contributed. I think that's very, very valuable. Being valuable also means being good at what you do and doing what you do to a very, very high standard. As I record this, Commonwealth Games are getting underway. You need to really perform at your best. You need to be giving 100%. You need to be working at what you do as though you're an athlete. And each and every one of us is learning and is developing all the time. So that's really important, so that you value what you do. You know what your skills and your talents are. You know what the credits are in the bank, or the things that you've contributed, and that you're beginning to articulate that so that you know what the value that you bring. I'd add to that, knowing what your unique magic is. And it might be very subtle, it might be very, very specific, it might be very skills-based, you might be incredibly good with numbers, budgeting, it might be inherent with your job title. You might have a far more subtle skill, or one of those what people call soft skills, which aren't really soft skills at all. So for me, one of my big realizations in my career was when I was aged in my early 20s, and I wasn't sure I had the confidence to go for a more senior job that had been advertised, and then I suddenly heard a voice in my head, my own voice, saying, Rasheed, you've got people skills. If you've got people skills, you can do anything. That was the birthplace of me really recognizing where I was really good when it came to people, when it came to training and development, all the things that my career would lead into. So what are your skills, what are your talents, being valuable, knowing what your value is, letting other people know what you do and bring to the table, and always performing at 100%, so people see you as somebody who is valuable, as somebody who's bringing something of value to the table. Next up is being visible. Being visible is incredibly key. So it might well be that you're incredibly talented, but actually where it is, are people seeing you? Do people know that you're what you've done and what you've contributed? I meet so many wonderful people who this visible piece isn't there in place. And that starts off with, are you visible at team meetings? Or are you sat at the back? Are you there at industry events, conferences, seminars and so on? Attend these. These are a great opportunity for you to meet people. Tomorrow I'm speaking at a career development conference for young people. That conference is going to give many of these people exposure to all sorts of people in their industry that how else might they get an opportunity to meet them? So I'm a big fan of things like events, conferences, shows, but also starting within your own organisation. Are you visible even to your own network? Do they know who you are, what it is that you're doing? You need to convert that valuableness into being very, very visible, so people know you in your network, people know you in the organisation, people know you at the coffee machine, and not knowing you as one of the people who's gossiping, but the person who's always adding something of value. He's always got something to say, always smiling, shining, and that brings us on to, I guess, the very fundamental thing of being very, very visible. How do you show up? How is it that you look? Do you look the part? You need to reflect the business and the industry that you're in. If I was in a creative field, maybe being dressed how I am now is really appropriate. Maybe you're in a very uber conservative field, in which case it is about being far more conservatively dressed. You need to be mindful about that, and you need to be mindful about where you're going to. I'll never forget running some workshops for an NHS trust, and one of the ladies who attended this event would always be super smart. She said to me, even though her job role, she had an administrative role, which in fact is an incredibly important role, because without those kind of roles, the rest of the organisation can't function. But she had her aspirations on being a chief executive. And she said, well, I dress like a chief executive because that's my goal in the long term. I love that. I love that approach. So it is about really looking the part, but it's also about being authentic to you. So you might need to give that looking that part, that kind of twist, so that you still stand out, so you don't look still the same as everybody else in the same uniform. So you'll be wearing your uniform, but there's something about how you bring it together that makes you really stand out. And that's very, very important. But that visible isn't just in terms of the aesthetic look. It means that you're bringing something special to the table, which brings us onto our third point, being velvet voiced. So let's just recap here. Number one is being valuable, being good at what you're doing, working at what you do, letting other people know what you're doing, and doing what you do very, very well, and performing to a high standard all the time. Then it's being visible from the team meeting, the conferences, exhibitions, shows, online. By the way, when I was talking about being visible, I talked a lot about it in person, but just zooming back to being visible online is incredibly, really important in the world in which we live. Have you got your LinkedIn profile? Does it have a really good photograph, not one that was taken in the backyard? Do you have a really punchy profile highlighting what you've done, what you've contributed in real terms to your organisation? This isn't a moment for hiding your light under a bushel. You really need to say it. If you don't say it, how are other people going to tease out the fact that you led on this project, you managed that program, you brought in X thousand pounds worth of business for your organisation? It's really, really important that you're saying those things, and it's there, reflected there in that kind of visibility. And therefore, it leads us on to this third one, velvet voiced. Velvet voiced, what do I mean by that? What we say is therefore really important. So it's how we come across, how we feel in terms of being valuable. You know, the actual product, in the case, the product needs to shine. Being visible, we need to look the part, we need to be in view so that people can see us and see what we do online and in person. And then in velvet voice, what we say needs to always be something that adds value. That you're seen as somebody who is a problem solver, somebody who can bring rich insight, somebody who can give rich counsel, somebody who can highlight potential challenges, but also crucially who can come up with potential solutions. This is what's really important. Being velvet voiced isn't about always telling people what they want to hear, but telling people it in a way that is really rich and compelling. So it's important that you're clear, crisp, considered, and it's relevant. There's no room here for somebody who's moaning, because one of the dangers is that there's a lovely adage that I heard, I think last year for the first time, where somebody pointed out, you know, people always see you as either part of the problem or part of the solution. It's a bit harsh in a way, it's quite strong, this or that, but it's probably in broad terms true. Which is it that you're seen as? Are you seen as somebody who's a troublemaker, somebody who's a moaner, somebody who's always got something negative to say, somebody who's always, or saying nothing at all, not bringing anything to the table? Or are you seen as somebody who really is saying something that is really valuable, and somebody who's bringing something that we're wanting to hear? So I think that's really, really important, and that's important with what you say online. It's also important what you say, of course, in person. So it means being in that meeting, speaking up. And when we bring these three things together, being visible, valuable, and velvet voiced, it means that we're in the front row. Literally or metaphorically, when I run my courses and workshops, and including when I run leadership workshops, I often note where people come in and where they sit in the room. And so often, even on things like leadership workshops, people come in and sit at the back. It's fine if you're sitting in the back strategically so you can see everything else, or if you're sat in the middle so you can get a feel of the whole energy in the room. But if you're somebody who's really wanting to move forward, then I think that therefore these metaphors are very, very significant. Where it is that you sit, where it is that you sit in that room. It's really important that you take centre stage in your own life and your career. So those are my tips: being visible, being valuable, and being velvet voiced. When you put these together, that visibility means you can begin to consider, okay, where is it that I'm wanting to be in my career? Where is it I'm wanting to be in my industry? Where is it I'm wanting to be in my business? Who are the people that I value? Who are the people who can bring value? Who are the people I'm wanting to attract? Who are the people I should be socializing with, speaking with, in order who can help me, who can mentor me, can coach me, develop me, take me under their wing, who I can build in terms of my network, they can help me in, and I can help them. You begin to bring all these things together. You begin to be resourceful through knowing what your value is and the value that you bring to everybody else. And those other people will also help you to identify the rooms and the places where it is that you need to be visible, or to present you in that best way. So those are my tips in terms of career and business progression this month: being visible, being valuable, being velvet voiced. Just to wrap up, there's more. Stay in touch with me throughout the month. You can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at Rasheed Ogunlaru. Remember again, the Soul Trader retreat for those of you in business who are really wanting to be authentically yourself. This is being run in association with the Red Lotus Project retreats and with Precious Online. And I should have added that I've got a number of special guest speakers at this. I'm delighted that Fluke Akinlose MBE, founder of Precious, is going to be one of my speakers. Jessica Shuey, author of Purpose and founder of Colorblind Cards, and JHPR is going to be among my speakers. Guests, I am really delighted that Lee and Justin, the retreat organisers, are going to be there. There's going to be mindfulness, there's going to be opportunity for light yoga, relaxation. We're in Portugal, we're going to be by Lisbon, we're going to be by the ocean. It's going to be a really, really opportunity to relax, recharge, recuperate, and also, crucially, have that time to work on your business or on your leadership skills and what's really going to make an impact for you. And as I said, it's really around that intention, compassion, and transformation. So that's that. Details of all the other events that you'll see underneath here are on my website. And remember, you can find me via my Facebook channel or my Soul Trader Facebook channel, or my YouTube channel, so across social media. So thank you so much. Have yourself a wonderful April. Take care, and see you soon. From me, Rasheed, author of Soul Trader, putting heart back into your business. Take very, very good care. Bye-bye.